Hello, Reloading World. Fasty Fausty here. Another great video for the masses. This one is about how to set up your rifle and pair it with your favorite ballistic app. Now, there's a lot of people out there that always are asking, how do you set it up? I can't get it right. What's going on? What I did wrong? Why can't I get this information? Why do I have to delve into the forums just to get a little piece of information? Like they don't want to share, like the pros don't want to share their little secret. You know, the way that I see it, you do your own homework, you come to your own conclusions, you go to the range and you get your results. Maybe some of you have seen my results, so I'm going to share with you what I did in order to get my results, which is also backed up by math, which is the constant, the truth, right? Ballistic applications work by math and physics. You can't go wrong. One ballistic application I like to use is called Shooter. You can get that on the Android apps, and also I think Apple also has it too. Now, it was recommended to me by a friend of mine who's in the local police department SWAT team. He's actually a sniper. They're using that. If it's good enough for them, it's good enough for me. So, it's called Shooter. I will show you how to actually set it up with your rifle, and then you're gonna be able to make those 100, you know, of course 100, 200, 300, 400, 500 yard shots mathematically. I mean, if the only way you're gonna miss is if you don't put the crosshairs on the target. But if you do your math right, and your setup with your scope and your rifle profiles are correct, and the application has been set up correctly, whatever it tells you what you have to adjust on your scope, you're gonna hit the target. That's where I want you to be. Not a lot of folks trust that. Believe me, it does work because math does not lie. So let's get started. The first thing that's very important that you're gonna need to get is one of these. This is a caliper. Now, why is this very important? Because this is going to allow you to measure the scope height. Scope height is one of the variables that is required for you to be able to use the application. It is extremely important that you get the scope height correct. Now, a lot of folks say, well, you know, you can eyeball it. Yeah, you can do all that, but it becomes really critical after 750, 800, 900, 1,000, 13,000, right? It becomes really critical that your scope height should be as accurate as possible because math doesn't lie. I'm really big proponent to that. I like to really measure things carefully to the best that I can, of course, round out to the highest number, and you know, and put that information into the ballistic application so that I can get the best scope height indication that I can. The better you are with your precision when it comes to, you know, your weight and the bullet and your grains and whatever, the better chances you're gonna have. Actually, it's not chances. You're eliminating any other possibilities of something going awry and you're just spending your brass one day when you go to the range. Let me tell you, if your math is right and there is no other atmospheric condition besides, you know, that's windy, where you put that reticle, that's where your bullet's gonna go. Because what this is going to allow you to do is, you know for a fact that when you want to shoot 400 and the ballistic calculator says set this particular on your turret, adjust it to whatever mils or MOA, that your elevation is correct. You do that and you're going to be successful, guaranteed. But for that, you're going to need one of these. So it is kind of sad that a lot of people have these and don't know how to use them. So get a video, learn how to use a pair of calipers. It's very important. You know, I've seen people just trying to measure using this, you know, and just eyeballing it. No, you learn how to use one of these. I'll show you how, at least for this particular application. We're going to be using two parts of this caliper. One, we're going to be using this over here. We're going to use this to measure the scope height, meaning exactly, we're going to measure from the bottom of the scope to the top of the barrel. This way, right? Bottom of the barrel, top of the barrel, bottom of the scope. We're going to use this portion here. And then we're going to use this portion here to measure the scope bell in front of the scope. And we're also going to measure the barrel width also. So with the scope bell, right, which is the width of the barrel of the scope, and the width of the barrel. Now, on the Ruger precision rifle, I highly recommend that you remove the rail. You have to. You're only going to do it once. Get your measurements and put it back in. So let's go ahead. I already did my measurements, but I'll go into practice and I will show you how I was able to you know, get the number that I needed for my ballistic application. So I'm going to go ahead and move this down like this. Okay, and as you can see, there is my rifle. I think I have some ballistic data already. I'm sorry, some measurements already there. And I'll explain to you what is it that I did. So I went ahead and removed this because you really don't need to have this to make the measurement. You want to make your measurement where you have the actual glass or right in front over here. So we want to get the barrel diameter. You have to remove this. Right here, you want to do it right under the scope. That's where you want to make the measurement, right under the scope. All right. I came up with 1 inch. That was my barrel diameter, 1 inch right there. So I wrote that down. All right. And the scope diameter basically is reset to 0. I did this, right? Came out to 2.26, 2.27. Let's do it again. These Chinese, you know, whether they're made in China or not, yeah, made in China, they sometimes are not the greatest thing in the world. So I recommend you just take various measurements, right? You know, 2.26, and you write that down. Now the height. So the height is from the bottom of your scope to the top of the barrel, right? Or the top of the barrel, the bottom of the scope. So basically, you bring this thing out, and since I'm not gonna be able to hit the barrel, assuming that this is not there, you're going to push it down right in front of the scope. Oh, wait a minute, you got a little hole over here. Maybe that would help, right? You're going to go ahead and push it down until the bottom of the caliper, this part right here, meets the bottom of the scope. So I like to use my finger to make sure that this is a nice, easy transition, right? And then I just push it up again a little more, right? And touch it there, and just a little height. There we go. And that's smooth. And then that's going to give you the height in between the barrel, top of the barrel, and the bottom of the scope. 1.14. That's what I had before. And once you have all that data, you got to go ahead and do a little bit of the math, right? So this is the way that it goes. The barrel diameter and the scope diameter, well, the scope bell diameter, you write that down and you divide that by 2. So the barrel diameter, 1 divided by 2 is 0.5. Scope diameter, 2.26 divided by 2 is 1.13. And the scope height, which is, again, very important, the top of the barrel, bottom of the scope, measured out to 1.14. You take all that information and then you add it up, and that gives you 2.77. That's important because this is data you're going to require for your ballistic calculator. Now, you're also going to need to get your, if you have bullets and you're making your bullets, you can get that automatically off the application, or you can enter your own. For I am using the ELD match bullets, everybody knows, so I'm going to need this information, which is the, you know, the weight of the bullet is this information. 264 is the diameter, and you're also going to have to measure the height of the bullet, not the overall cartridge, but the height of the bullet. I'll show you that in the application too. You want to get the twist rate, and you always want to use the G7 data when it comes to these ballistics because it just makes it for a lot more accuracy at longer distance. So let me show you the application. I use a rinkety dinkety regular Android phone that I'm no longer using, and I go ahead and load up the shooter application. So I'm going to stand behind it and I'm going to go ahead and show it to you this way. Okay, so this is what we currently have right here. We have shooter, and let's load it up. Now, as you can see, it has a profile of all different types of firearms. I think that the registered versions allow you to do that. The free version may only allow you one. I'm not going to go ahead and create a new one. I'm going to go ahead and show you what I did with my existing one, right? So I'm going to click on it and I'm going to hold it and I'm going to edit. Okay. So profile, you put in the name of the profile of the weapon, of course, which is the Ruger Precision Rifle. You can call it whatever you want. The other wife. Oh, it's just a joke. The barrel twist weight, we know that from the manufacturer. There's 1 1/8. So you have to put in that in. 1 1/8. 1 is already there. You just put in the number 8. The twist direction is right. You can use the drop down. Some of them are left, some of them are right. Ours just happens to be right. And the sight height, 2.78. Wow, man, that was pretty close. We had 2.77. Oh. So I guess that, you know, I put in 278. Maybe I was just using, maybe I rounded up, I don't recall. But what's important is that that is relatively very close. We don't have any offset, so we just continue here with the rest of the settings. Okay, the elevation unit, mils. This particular drop down tells you the different types of elevation unit. We got EFI, MOA, and mils. I use mils because my turret are MRAD. You get that information off the turrets from your scope. Right here, right? These guys. Let me scroll. You can go in there and let me scroll it out a little bit. These guys right here. You see, you can read that information off what it says here. Some of them will say MOA 1/8, right? You click as 1/8. Some will say MRAD 1/10. Mine was MRAD 1/10, and that is the information that I put into here, right? The turret gradients, right? 1/10. Windage, same thing. Mils, 1/10. And the leading unit is the same as the windage unit and elevation unit, which is also mils. Okay, terrific, perfect. And I don't have any correction factor. 1 and 1 is the default, so you leave that as that. Once this is set, you click save, and that's your profile for your firearm. Then the next thing you need to do in the application is, after you click that, it's going to take you to what's called your munition library. Notice that I have one setting there already. It's called custom, FAC, my initials. The reason why I have that is because I could make my own bullets. But you can add existing bullets from the bullet library that's in there, right? There's a whole bunch of bullets that you can add, and it will load the information in there for you. But for testing purposes, as most of you already know, I load my own rounds. So I'm going to click on that, I'm going to hold it, I'm going to edit, and I'm going to show you what I put in there. Okay, so I put in my name, which is, you know, Custom Simplified Premium, FAC. They write on it, of course. The bullet diameter, 0.264, we got that from the box. The bullet weight is 140 grains. The bullet length is 1.38 inches. I used a pair of calibers to measure the bullet length. Not the overall cartridge length, the actual bullet length. Is this necessary? Well, it seems that in this particular situation, yes it is. The muzzle velocity, 2760. That's a little bit higher than the manufacturer, right? But I'm not shooting manufacturer. I'm shooting my own rounds. So I have a chronometer, and I just shot like 25 bullets through the chronometer. I added it all up, and I gave you the average of 2760. This is very important because this is one of the key indicators on how fast your bullet travels and how much slower it's going to be when you're, of course, going at, you know, longer distances and things of that nature. So that's very important data. You won't be able to save anything in here if you don't have that data. Oh, looks like this went blank. Okay. Alright, so let's continue. Alright. Powder temperature, 85 degrees. I'm in Florida, folks. That's the average of my powder temperature all the time, is 85 degrees. This can change as I am shooting throughout the day if I'm outdoors, right? That's good information to keep in hand. I'm sure that the powder temperature in different locations can vary. You can act, if you're colder weather, you want to put the powder temperature in there. I use the standard, the atmospheric, ICAO standard, and the drag model is G7. You used to drop down here to choose the drag model, G7, right? And the ballistic coefficient for G7 is 0.312. The box says 0.305. That's wrong. That's a manufacturer misprint. You go to the manufacturer website, Hornady, which is, I'm using the ELD match bullets. They say use 0.312. And the zero range data. Now, you can zero your scope. You have to, right? But the standard is 100 yards. You can zero into whatever you want. You make it 50, 25, it's up to you how you want to do it. But you have to let the calculator know, the program know that this is your zero range, right? You don't want to exceed that. I don't have any height offset, I don't have any zero offset, and I'm not going to enable any atmospheric conditions because I'm in Florida. I have no altitude. My pressure is always constant, around 29, you know? And my pressure is, it's not obsolete, but, you know, I'm not going to enter any atmospheric data, you know, whatsoever. You're in Colorado, you bet you want to put here. I mean, that was 5,000 feet above sea level. You got to put it in here. Me, someday I'm going to flood. But that's just the way that things are over here. And that's basically it. You can put any notes in here, you know, humidity and most temperature. Again, we can enter that information later. But for now, this is what I currently use. So I'm going to go ahead and click save. And there it is. And I click on it. And bam, downloads my environment. So the environment is pretty much is what you want to shoot at, right? So I'm going to go ahead and say, you know what, I want my target's going to be at 300 yards, right? It's not the look angle. The look angle is very important. If you're shooting from top down, right, or from down up or straight, you need to put in the look angle. That's going to greatly affect your altitude. So how do you calculate your look angle? Very simple. I downloaded an application called Leveler, Bubble Leveler, right? And when you're sitting down, right, you pretty much hold it like this on top of your rifle, and you guess, right, you try to guess how the angle you put it towards the target. And whatever it tells you here, you're about 1 degree or whatever you get from your leveler, right, when you're looking at the target, that's the information you put in there. So if you're shooting from top to bottom, like from a roof, you're gonna be like this, right? Your angle's gonna be much steeper. So like here, it's gonna say you're like about 5 degrees angle. That's the information you want to put in there, because that's gonna make all the difference, right? So you can use any bubble leveler software that's out there. Again, Bubble Leveler is pretty cool. I highly recommend it. At the shooting range, we're at about 2 degrees. So that's the environment, you put it in there. And that's at the Hollywood shooting range where I actually shoot, Lake Okeechobee. We don't have any move speed, we don't have any move angle. The altitude, you're high, you're in a high place, that's where you gotta put it. I'm 0 over here. That's basically, I don't have anything else. The wind, I don't have. Let's just, for argument's sake, there is no wind. When you're ready, you just click up here, and bam, there's your solution. So it's telling me that at 300 yards, I gotta go to 1 mil, which is 10 clicks, or 3.3 MOA, or 3.4 ET. No wind whatsoever. This is how you adjust your scope, right? The beauty about the software is that if I want to go from here to 500, just type in 500, click done, and bam, it automatically calculates. Look at that, 2.6 mils. Let's say at 500 I have a 10 miles per hour crosswind, right? Put that in there, done, bam, 0.8 mils I have to adjust, or 8 clicks. This is really cool. I make my shots at 500 yards, I'm impacting. Let's move it up to 600 yards, right? Click done, bam, right? 1 mil, 3.5 mils, right? Elevation. This is how they do it. This is the secret. Yeah, some of you may have know it already, but this is how it's done. Let me show you how 3.5 mils look on my scope, right? So I'm going to put this down. I'm going to show you how I make those adjustments, because you should know, right? You should know, okay, how is it done? How do you do it? Ladies and gentlemen, it is very, very simple. This is the way that it looks in my scope. So, right, let's see if it's focused. Focus. 0, right? 3.5 mil. 1, right? 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 3.5. That's my 600 yard shot, right? And according to the calculator here, it says I got 1 mil windage because I have a crosswind of 10 miles per hour. Alright, let's see, 1, that's it. Now, a lot of folks don't like adjusting this, and particularly if you're doing competition, you make an adjustment, and I've seen people throughout the whole day really mess up their day because they made an adjustment and they forgot to adjust it back. But that's the way that it works. It's very simple, MRADs, very simple. It would have been exactly the same, it would have been MOA. Adjust it, boom. When you're ready, go back to your calculation. Some folks then use the rifle over here, and they put a little sticker with all the different, at 100 is this, 200 is that. You can do that too. You can write on a notepad. I like to use the application. It's really simple to use. That's basically it. Good luck with that. I hope that this shed some light into how to make your adjustments, how to set up the calculator, your scope height, right? And be safe and have fun.